The next point, we should ensure whatever we see is clear.
That means work is being done, we can see that it is in opposite direction.
Once again, you are welcome to Kaduna State Ministry of Education e-learning program. Today's subject is literature in English, and we'll be considering a drama text, which is non-African drama text titled She Stoops to Conquer. The playwright is Oliver Goldsmith. I am Mr. Gankon Zakaria, who is going to take you in this lesson for today. Now, we have, just like I said, the playwright is Oliver Goldsmith. Let's know a little bit of Oliver Goldsmith, who was born in 1728 to an Anglo-Irish vicar. His life was ungainly and cruel, which prevented him from making many acquaintances, and his life at college was miserable. So if you don't have acquaintance, then definitely your life will be miserable. It's just like we had for Oliver Goldsmith. He wrote so many books and poems, but She Stoops to Conquer is the most highly successful. Goldsmith's carelessness, his intemperance, and his habit of gambling soon brought him into debt. Broken in health and mind, he died in 1774. The background of Oliver Goldsmith, She Stoops to Conquer. She Stoops to Conquer is a play of mistaken identities, practical jokes, and plots within plots. The play can be described as a comedy of manners in which high-born characters make fools of themselves, trying to preserve their dignity when in actuality they behave in ways more fitting of the lower classes. She Stoops to Conquer is written essentially to entertain, but Goldsmith also satirizes the vanity and affectation of refined 18th century. That is a society preoccupied with idealized view of mankind. Oliver Goldsmith in this play provokes laughter, and the character attempt to strike some balance between authority and freedom, obedience and independence. Let's ask ourselves this question: how many people marry for money rather than love? And can marriage join people who are both economically and emotionally compatible? That is a rhetorical question that you sit down to answer by yourself. This play was initially titled The Mistakes of the Night. And indeed, the events within the play take place in one long night, and because of Shakespeare's A Midsummer's Night Dream, Goldsmith retitled the play She Stoops to Conquer. The play and title refers to Kate's trick of pretending to be a barmaid to reach her goal. She has to bring herself down in order to reach her goal. This title originates in the poetry of Dryden, which may have been misquoted by Lord Chesterfield. The portrait lover, when he lowers lies, but stoops to conquer, and bet kneels to rise. Can you see there? The central idea of She Stoops to Conquer was suggested to Goldsmith by an incident of his boyhood. Goldsmith, always easily deceived by practical jokes, had gone to the squire's house and treated him as a horse. Other autobiographical elements in the play include resemblances between the young vagabond Goldsmith, who spent 2 years on a walking tour of Europe, and the irresponsible Tony Lopkin. And Goldsmith, like his character, Marlowe, was at ease with serving women, but stiff in the company of proper ladies, in part because of insecurities about his physical appearance. Now, we take a look at the plot of She Stoops to Conquer. But imagine Goldsmith as a person who is stiff when it comes to proper ladies, but becomes so loose when he meets the other ladies that are in low classes. So let's have a look at the plot of She Stood to Conquer. She Stood to Conquer starts with a country gentleman known as Mr. Hardcastle, who wishes to marry off his daughter Kate to his very respectable friend's son, young Marlowe. An exciting and romantic night is anticipated at Mr. Hardcastle country home for this purpose. The young Marlowe, the son of Charles Marlowe, to visit Kate, the proposed bride. Sir Charles Marlowe, the father of Kate, is Mr. Hardcastle's oldest friend. So both fathers, the father of Marlowe and the father of Kate, make the arrangement and choice for their children, which nowadays we are against it. We should allow children to choose their wives and husbands, not parents to choose for them. Kate has not yet seen her intended, who is to come in with young Hastings, whose sweetheart is Constance Neville, Mrs. Hardcastle's niece and Kate's dearest friend. Mrs. Hardcastle hoped for a match between her son, like Tony Lopkin, Kate's half-brother, and Constance. Though both Constance and Tony dislike each other, the two don't like themselves. But the mother wants to make a match there. Marlowe and Hastings, having lost their way, stop for the direction at the Three Pigeons Tavern, where Tony usually whiles away the evening with drink, PlayStations, and practical jokes. As soon as Tony heard of the traveler's destination, he gets the inspiration for what he conceived to be a great deception. He tells Marlowe and Hastings that they can never reach the Hardcastle home at night over the dangerous path that lies before them. Tony then suggests to them that the Three Pigeons is crowded. They had the best go a mile further to Box Head. He advises them to drive into the yard. The young man thanked him and leave, unaware that Tony has, in reality, sent them to Hardcastle home. At the Hardcastle, Marlowe and Hastings believe Mr. Hardcastle to be the innkeeper. They order him rudely about demanding supper. Marlowe insists upon going upstairs to inspect his bed personally. While he is away, Constance walks into the room. Hastings asks what she is doing at the eel. She exposes the horrors of old tricks. Hastings immediately warns Constance that the sensitive Marlowe must not be allowed to know the truth, for he might leave at once, humiliated because of his rude conduct. These plans provide for the elopement of Hastings and Constance just as soon as she can get possession of her fortune in jewels, which Mrs. Hardcastle has certainly and carefully locked up. While they are waiting for Kate's possession of the jewels, they decide to continue to carry out Tony's fraud. Hastings will continue to tell Marlo that by chance, Costa and Kate are girls at the inn. The meeting of Marlo and Kate is hardly a success because he is shy and stammers stupid compliments which warrant Kate to tell her father that she will have none of him. She don't know that that's the same person that she is going to marry, or that's the same person the father arranged for them to marry. Kate's father seemed to agree with his daughter's decision. Hence the statement. Look at what the father said. He met me with a loud voice, a loudly air, and a familiarity that made my blood freeze. That is the father complaining. But they agreed to await further development before pronouncing judgment on Marlo's true nature. And Kate disguises herself as a male. Thereafter, Marlo, looking at Kate closely for the first time, assumes her to be a female of the other class, because they assure gallantries to kiss her. Kate protests when he attempts to kiss her. Now the girl now protests. It seems she's a decent girl. And what does she say when she protests? Pray, sir, keep your distance. I am sure you did not treat Mrs. Hardcastle that way that was here a while ago in this unruly manner. Marlo, not knowing who she is, replies in an insulting manner. What he said, he tries again to embrace her. Kate escaped. Remember, he tried a kiss, she said no. Now, after they have spoken, and then he tried again to embrace her, but she escaped, not wanting the embrace. Mr. Hardcastle saw it all. When he made an attempt to embrace her, the father saw it and demanded that Marlo leave his house immediately. Again, Marlo, not knowing who she is talking to, asks him to bring his bill and make no more word about it. It seems the boy is rude. Mr. Hardcastle replied, gave Marlo a shock. He calls the barmaid, Kate, to clear up the confusion. She tells him that he is indeed in the Hardcastle home and that she lives there as a poor relation. Marlo, covered with embarrassment, is prepared to leave at once, but begins to realize his love for the male. He wanted to leave, but love has started entering now. And Kate begins to suspect that he is, after all, quite bearable. He's not as rude as they think. The romance of Hastings and Constance is not doing well. Tony, who is helpful to Hastings and Constance, wants her out of the way because she is a threat to his liberty. He doesn't like her, he doesn't love her. He stole Constance jewels from Mrs. Hastings and has given them to Hastings for safekeeping. Hastings passed them to Marlo, who thought Mrs. Hardcastle is only a landlady of the inn, turned them over to her to take care of this, to make her to learn of Constance's intended enlistment. At last, Sir Charles, the father of Marlo, arrives. Both fathers laugh over Marlo's embarrassment, though they assume he is not fully aware of the truth. Surprisingly, young Marlo still thinks the male and Kate are different persons. He didn't know that it is the same person he's dealing with. When he was tweeted or teased by Mr. Hardcastle over his passionate behavior towards Kate, Marlo replied, "By all that is just and true, sir, I never gave Miss Hardcastle the slightest mark of my attachment." That was his reply. He left the room The fathers are completely confused. Later, when they, that is Marlo and Kate, meet again, the fathers had Marlo, who still believing Kate to be the poor relation, declare his love for her and offer marriage. The two men, like Sir Charles and Hardcastle, reproach Marlo for his hypocrisy. He reproached Marlo for his hypocrisy. You can address a lady in private and deny it in public. You have one story for us and another for my daughter. Marlo then discovers that then male in reality is Kate. The male he's thinking of is the same person called Kate. The tango now unraveled. Marlo and Kate are happily betrothed. They are now engaged to be boyfriend and girlfriend that will eventually marry. Good fortune also comes to Hastings and Constant. Tony formally renounces Constant. He is not interested in the relationship that the mother wants to join them. Hastings and Constant then get engaged. Now, we have understood the story now, knowing fully well that She Stood to Conquer is not just a story, one single story that is centered to one person, but is centered within so many people. It's plots within plots, plots within plots. So, by the grace of God, when you read the book, you understand the story in total. Now, you get the story of Marlo and Kate, and then you get the story of Hastings and Constant. Remember, when they met, the two did not know themselves. Now, Kate, she brought herself so low, she didn't want to behave in a high class. She wanted to bring herself so low so that let her see whether the person that's going to marry her is only going to marry her because of her class or because he loves her. And that was why she brought herself so low. That's why she stooped to conquer. Now, we're going to look at the setting. We'll look at the setting. Now, remember, I always tell you, just like we have been saying, when we talk about setting, we are talking about time and place. So this is also not left out. We are talking about time and place when we come to setting. So She Stood to Conquer as a play, as a drama, is not left out. You also have its own time and setting. Now, so the setting of She Stood to Conquer, a play by Oliver Goldsmith, is the 18th century. Now, the place is the Hardcastle mansion in the English countryside. That's where the place, about 60 miles from London. Now, having known the time and the place, let's put it this way. The mansion is an old but comfortable dwelling that resembles an eel. That is the mansion of the Hardcastle. It is an old building, but it resembles an eel. And that's why the young Marlo was confused. Now, he was waiting to relax there after relaxation because he met Tony. He thought that is an ill. So after the relaxation, he will now be directed to the Hardcastle house, not knowing that he was already in the Hardcastle house. So that's where the confusion, and that's the tangle that we wanted to unravel and she stood to conquer. So having seen this, so it is good for you to read the book. After reading the book, you now understand better. Don't just, it's good to listen to us, whether on radio, on television, and then, but a good literature student must read the book so that you get some salient point that you need to understand. So that is the story in She Stood to Conquer by Oliver Goldsmith. Now, to just remind some of us that are joining us lately, let's have a recap of what we have been saying so far. Now, we started by saying, talking about the plot. We say She Stood to Conquer started with a country gentleman known as Mr. Hardcastle, who wishes to marry off his daughter, Kate, to his very respectable friend's son, now who is young Marlowe. Now, as the story continues, there's an exciting moment there. Now, an exciting moment and romantic night is anticipated at Mr. Hardcastle's country home for this purpose. So the young Marlowe, like the son of Charles Marlowe, now was to visit Kate, the proposed bride, is to visit and then know her. Remember, the two of them have not met before, but that visit will intimate them to know themselves. So Sir Charles Marlowe, the father of Kate, is Mr. Hardcastle's oldest friend. Now, their friendship is a long one. So both fathers make the arrangement and choice for their children. It was the father of Marlowe and the father of Kate that make that arrangement so that the two children now will marry themselves. Remember, when parents do that, is to cement their own relationships. It's for their own personal benefit. Some of them may be business partners. So they believe that if their daughters and their sons marry themselves, now their relationship will get cemented. So they will now become unseparable. Now, so that's what the arrangement between the two fathers. So Kate has not yet seen her intended. She don't know him, who is to come in with young Hastings. She knows Hastings, but she don't know the Marlowe. Now, whose sweetheart is Constant? She knows his sweetheart is Constant Neville, but she don't know the person the parent proposed for her to marry, that is Marlowe. So Mrs. Hardcastle, Castle's niece, and Kate, they are friends, dearest one for that matter. So Mrs. Hardcastle hoped for a match between her son. Remember, Tony Lopkin is her son from another husband. And she had married before, and that's where she gave birth to Tony Lopkin, now before marrying the Hardcastle. That's why Kate and Tony are half brothers. And Constant. Though both Constant and Tony dislike each other, the two don't like themselves. They don't like themselves. But if it's a case of one liking the other, but the two of them don't like themselves. So that's why their match will not work. So Marlowe and Hastings, having lost their way, stop for the direction. Now they now stop for a direction at the Three Pigeon Tavern, where Tony usually whiles away the evening. Now he does that for three reasons. One, while there, he will be drinking. While there will be flirtations, he will be flirting. And then while there will be what? Practical jokes. So these are the three things that keep Tony Lopkin at the Three Pigeons Tavern. So as soon as Tony heard of the traveler's destination, they were discussing, and he now know where they are going. Then he gets the inspiration for what he conceived to be a great deception. He now wanted to deceive them. So he tells Marlowe and Hastings that they can't do what? They can never reach the Hardcastle at night over the dangerous path that lies before them. Tony then suggests to them that the three pigeons is crowded. They had the best to go a mile further to box ahead. So this is a recap of what we have been saying so far for those of you who joined us very lately. And remember, I told you the setting, and which involves the time and the place where the whole story, the whole event took place. Now, we are just halfway in that book. Now, when we meet next time, we are going to finish up starting with the themes of Stoops to Conquer. But before then, make sure you have time to read the book. Thank God the coronavirus lockdown is getting to an end. Then your exam is fast approaching. So as you prepare for your exam, make sure you have to go through all that we have been doing so far. I remain Mr. Gankon Zaks. If you want to reach me before we conclude this segment of Stoops to Conquer, you can reach me on this number, 080-9174-0622. Now I repeat, 080-9174-0622. I remain Gankon Zaks. Stay home, stay safe, and keep learning till we meet again. God bless you.